Call to order. Welcome to Aurora's Committee of Adjustment meeting. The time is 7:04 p.m. on Thursday, April 11, 2024. I would like to call this Committee of Adjustment meeting to order. I will start by introducing the committee members and staff. I am the committee chair. My name is David Muhango, and the remaining members are as follows: Jane Stevenson, Vice Chair; Chris Posneri, Michael Visconti, and Julian Young. The Secretary-Treasurer is Peter Fan. The planner is Antonio Greco. Land acknowledgement. The town of Aurora acknowledges that the Anishinaabe lands on which we live and work are the traditional and the treated territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island, as well as many other nations whose presence here continues to this day. As the closest First Nation community to Aurora, we recognize the special relationship the Chippewas have with the lands and waters of this territory. They are the water protectors and environmental stewards of these lands, and as a municipality, we join them in these responsibilities. We further acknowledge that Aurora is part of the treaty lands of the Mississaugas and Chippewas, recognized through Treaty number 13, as well as the Williams Treaties of 1923. A shared understanding of the rich cultural heritage that has existed for centuries and how our collective past brought us to where we are today will help us work together into a better future. Tonight's meeting will now commence. We'll start with the approval of agenda. I will now require a mover and a seconder from the members. Julian is the mover, and Jane is the seconder. All in favor? Motion carried. Declarations of interest. To the members, are there any declarations of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof? I see heads shaking, so none. Confirmation of past minutes. I require a mover and a seconder. Michael is the mover.
I move approval of the minutes.
And the seconder, Chris Posneri. All in favor? Motion carried. Hearing of applications. This public meeting is being audio and video recorded. It is also being conducted virtually and through the use of Zoom technology. Your name, address, comments, and any other personal information are being recorded according to the Municipal Act and the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. This will help our town clerk prepare accurate minutes and to create a record that is available to the general public, including on the town's website. Questions about this correction should be directed to the town clerk. Please be advised that the reports being considered tonight are available on the Town of Aurora website and through the and through staff at the town's planning department. Should you wish to receive notification of any of the decisions of tonight's meeting, please complete the appropriate form available through town staff. Applicants and agents are automatically notified. For each application that will be considered tonight, the following process will occur. I will briefly outline the purpose of the applications, and then the applicant or agent will then be given the opportunity to make a presentation. However, one is not required. It is the applicant's decision whether they wish to speak or let the application proceed on the merits of the information as received. Presentations and the deputations are limited to 5 minutes, as much as possible. Following any initial comments from the applicant, I will invite members of the public who have interest in the application to come forward and address the committee. Those members of the public who wish to speak must clearly state their name and address and must provide this information to the Secretary-Treasurer. Should you wish to obtain a copy of the notice of decision, please complete the appropriate form available through the Secretary Treasurer. Members of the public are reminded that text comments are not permitted during the meeting, and they will not be noted in any manner or at any time. Each individual may speak only once on an issue, and once discussion has commenced in respect of a motion, further presentations shall be made. No further presentations shall be made. If you require any technical assistance with your presentation, please let me know. If you wish to speak and are currently following this meeting on the YouTube feed, you will need to turn this feed off and join the live meeting, as there is a slight lag between the YouTube and live feed. Please ensure that all questions and comments are directed through me as the chair. And if relevant, I will request the appropriate person to respond. It should be noted that the applicant will be given the opportunity to respond to any questions or comments should the committee feel that is appropriate. Now we'll start reviewing the applications. The first application is a minor variance application at 24 Danger. At the 24 Desjardins Way, and you see minor variance MV-2024-09. With this application, our first ask planning staff. They want to provide some additional information.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Before we dive into this application, just want to make it clear to the public and the community members that the applicant has worked diligently to reduce the variances that were circulated prior, and has worked to reduce 2 variances compared to what is presented today during this Committee of Adjustment meeting. So therefore, previously there was 3 variances required, and now the applicant has reduced that down to the 1 that is before us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Much appreciated. Now, the applicant is requesting relief from the requirements of the town's comprehensive zoning bylaw 6000-17 as amended to facilitate the construction of the baseball training facility. The following relief is being requested. Section 4.11 of the zoning bylaw 6000-17 states that on any corner lot, no structure shall be erected greater than 1 meter above the grade of the streets that abut a lot within the daylight triangle area, enclosed by the intersecting street lines for a distance of 6 meters from their point of intersection. The applicant is proposing 3.46 meters. Applicant stated reasons for not complying with the zoning bylaw. As summarized from the applicant, it is important that the baseball training facility includes the appropriate size indoor playing field to mimic a real-world outdoor experience. Public correspondence. There are no letters of support, and also there are no letters of opposition. In conclusion, planning staff believe that the requested variance meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act for granting minor variances. Staff recommend approval of the requested variance subject to the 3 conditions in the staff's report. And this is the application. So do we have the applicant or agent who wants to speak to this application? Peter, do we have any agent?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent Jordan Combe and the architect Chris Pertato in the call.
Okay. Okay, so I can
Hey.
see. I can see.
Hi, guys.
Hi. So, if you are ready, please introduce yourself. Give us your name and your address, please.
Certainly. Through you, Mr. Chair, my name is Jordan Colm. I am a resident of King City, formerly Aurora for many years. My kids and family grew up there. And what else would you?
Do you want to make a presentation or
Sure.
or provide any comments about your application?
I'm pretty excited about the project, so I would like to make just a very quick presentation if I could. So what we're proposing is a premier purpose-built baseball training facility. It's something that I think is super exciting to bring to Aurora, as it is, well, definitely will be unique to Aurora, but will also be quite unique to Ontario. I think there's nothing like this. It will house the Newmarket Titans. They're a AAA baseball training or club, soon to become the Aurora Titans when they move to Aurora, as well as the Toronto Mets. So that being said, they're also a AAA baseball club, and they train 15 to 16-year-old kids, and then they go on to university and play at colleges and things like that. I think it's important to note that the facility will also serve the public with baseball camps. It'll have 8 batting cages. It'll host indoor softball tournaments and that alike, which I think is important because it's not only just a premier facility for elite athletes, but for anyone who wants to train there. That's part of the business plan that has been described to me by the tenant. Now, speaking to why we're here, the minor variance, I believe just get straight to the point that I think the committee would ask themselves, hey, why don't we just cut the corner off? Why does he need a minor variance? And we'll call it a day, and there's no problem, and everyone just move on. And I think the answer lies in the fact that this is not just a regular industrial building that we're building hoping to find a tenant. This is a very special purpose-built facility that's rather capital intensive, and cutting off the corner would somewhat impact the optimal use of the facility. So I don't know if you're familiar with baseball, but they're gonna run mock training drills. So they're gonna basically set up the infield, the diamonds in the infield, and what would be the area of the outfield where potentially that daylight triangle corner would or could be cut off would also be very valuable space. While the facility is at its maximum size to make a fire route and to accommodate all the parking, it's really at its minimum size for what the baseball folks would like to see. So it would greatly please us if we could maintain the minor variance and have our corner. And I think Chris, my architect, certainly could speak to the sight lines. I believe Antonio did a fabulous job at sort of elucidating how the building would actually really not impact the sight lines. And currently we would actually really be improving the sight lines by removing the berm as noted in the report, as well as probably that daylight corner now is overgrown with trees. It's just hasn't had much attention over the years. So I believe those trees would be removed and some lower planting would be prescribed. And again, that corner has islands on it and things like that. So as far as sightline and traffic goes, I don't think cutting off the corner would certainly impede the use of the building. From this point on, I'd like to defer to Chris, if need be, my architect, to further talk about the 4 tests of the minor variance and Seeing as I'm not really expert in that, I'm quite zealous about the whole project, and we're hoping that we can be approved through the minor variance process to carry on and build something wonderful for the town and something great for us as well. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Through the chair, my name is Chris Bertato of C-Space Architecture. I'm architect on this project. Our address is 8841 George Bolton Parkway, Unit B5 in Caledon. This is Jordan. Forgive me there. I was watching the YouTube feed and I may have been a couple of minutes behind. So the proposed project is to use part of the existing vacant lot at Desjardins Way and First Carmus Drive for a baseball training facility. As Jordan mentioned, it'll be home to Titans Baseball Club and feature a gym area, indoor playing field, and batting cages. It's a permitted business park use within the existing EBP zone and will provide a much needed new kind of facility in Aurora with ample functional interior space, and is designed to simulate full-size playing field to best reflect outdoor playing and training standards. So the exterior is intended to be functional while beautifying the existing and future immediate developing area and Aurora as a whole. And yeah, the variance we're proposing is to reduce the zoning bylaws definition of daylight triangle in this area. And we've designed the facility in conjunction with noted site characteristics, both in civil engineering and architectural, and what's there already, to retain clear visual information to the flow of traffic and other utilitarian functions of the immediate area. And we've read the Aurora Planning Department's report, and very pleased that they appear to be in support of the minor variances proposed. We've also read the conditions of approval and accept them. May I share my screen and give you a run through of our drawings and renderings and a photo? Okay, you're seeing the site plan. So this is the site plan here, First Commerce Drive, Desjardins. This is the training facility right here. We have a fire route going around, you know, to comply with OBC and zoning standards. Within, we have additional parking in here as well as some loading space. We'll be screening off the loading spaces as well as part of the building. Floor plan inside showing the playing field that we feel is necessary. Elevations, complying with the zoning bylaws, and there we have logos and windows and an aesthetic that we hope will enhance the area. Some renderings of the exterior. As we work through site plan approval, which is one of the conditions, we will definitely be developing landscape as per town comments and engaging with the town to fulfill all conditions as quickly and functional as possible. And we have a photo of the area here showing the existing berm. There's our signage. The roads are pretty wide going around, and it dips to low elevation over there. So we intend to clear this. The baseball facility will be around here, but you can see there's a lot of town property as well bordering the road, and I don't think there will be any problems with traffic navigating the general area. Do you have any questions you'd like us to answer?
Maybe I would say not at this time. I'll check with Peter if do we have any. Maybe the use slides, we may need them later on, especially the one you're showing now. But let me just check or confirm with Peter. Do we have any public delegation, Peter?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there are no public delegations for this application. However, before we do proceed, I do want to note that we did not get an address for Jordan. So if Jordan can restate his address and identify himself again for the record, please.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, my name is Jordan Combe. I'm a resident of King City, 15600 Dufferin Street.
Have you got it, Peter?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, that's sufficient for the record. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. Now, I'll open this to the members of the committee. If you have any questions or comments. One thing I can see is this drawing, which is being shown here, is a very good drawing. And I wish it was in the package which was provided to us as staff's report, but we had a similar one. But this is I think even far better, which is good. So anyway, now it's open to the members of the committee, whoever's got questions or comments. If you can maybe stop sharing this now or minimize. I cannot see the hands. There may be some committee members raising their hands. Yeah, I couldn't see you. Maybe because of my laptop screen. So anyways, any comments or questions from members of the committee? Chris?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I did have a question just regarding why that daylight triangle needed to be, needed to be used, but I think the applicant answered that pretty sufficiently, so that satisfies my question.
Michael?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, just for, I guess, my understanding of why it's necessary to get this variance, in that it looks like, I visited the site and everything, and it's not a busy corner there right now. And what I'm seeing is that the potential, if you have tournaments there, it's going to attract a lot more traffic. And I'm just trying to understand, what necessitates this turning circle. I mean, there's not that many cars that are coming from the Desjardins Insurance Company parking lot. So it's basically a three-way interchange there. It's not a four-way interchange. So can you just maybe explain to me, what the traffic studies have been, and if there's been any traffic studies that would affect sight view, I guess, from cars making a right turn from the First Commerce onto the Desjardins Way?
We have traffic studies that have been requested as part of the site plan approval, not the minor variance process as of yet, and we are working through this right now with a traffic consultant. We feel that the results of the traffic study will be relatively minor, because it is a wide, large intersection. We're only asking for a small variance. You can see the daylighting triangle on our drawings as well. It's very close to the existing. And yeah, it's mostly a training facility as well. Jordan, can you speak to it? It'll have probably lower traffic than you're anticipating.
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Yes,
we can.
yes, we can.
Through you, Mr. Chair, it's really youth baseball. So most of these kids are, all of these kids are under driving age. So as far as the traffic, it's really more a drop and go. And we do have ample parking, and we met all the requirements for parking. So we're not asking for a minor variance on parking. As far as having access from both sides, I believe that it's very important as a fire route and emergency vehicle access to have those two accesses. I believe you're correct in your assumption that certainly coming off First Commerce, it's maybe not necessary to have a right turn into the facility, but it would certainly make all the difference in the use of the facility for fire access route, as well as as well as ambulance. And to be clear, there's no tournaments being held there. This is just a training facility. So again, it's kind of a drop and go where the kids are dropped off. Similar to, you know, when kids go to hockey practice. I don't know if you had any boys that went through sports or things like that, but so it's mostly a drop and go. But in either case, I hope that helps satisfy your inquiry.
Yeah, it does. So there will be sufficient parking, and I guess through the site plan approval, some minor adjustments could be made as well to ensure that, you know, traffic isn't impacted by anything happening at that facility. That's my question. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Any comments from other members of the committee? Julian?
Hey, through you, Mr. Chair. This is, I think, the question for town staff. So I read the report and I saw the location. And there's a lot of talk about the daylight triangle area. I'm not an engineer, and I guess for the benefit of the public who are also not engineers, can you explain in layman's terms what this daylight triangle area is? And what, if any, effect reducing it by 3 meters would have?
For sure, through you, Mr. Chair, I could speak towards that. So the purpose of a daylighting triangle is to ensure that at an intersection such as here, Desjardins Way and First Commerce, there's adequate and safe pedestrian access, not only from when you're crossing the street on either side, but also when vehicular traffic goes through the area. This is a newer business park in town, so the ensuring that the daylighting triangle is sufficient is something that will be taken care of at the site plan application stage with more of a technical analysis. In regards to the setback itself, the setback itself has been reviewed by our traffic engineer, and they don't have any comments or any opposition towards having a reduced setback to the daylighting triangle. The way the building is situated on the lot, it is an irregular shaped lot that does have environmental protection that surrounds the total northern property line. So by moving it closer to the daylighting triangle, we also provide a sufficient buffer to the environmental protection lands to the rear. So it's staff's opinion that the setback being requested is adequate. And if for whatever reason there are any changes that are required as the applicant goes through the site plan approval process, then the applicant will, have to make the necessary changes. And if for whatever reason the setback needs to be further reduced, then he would have to be come forth before committee at another meeting date, if that's the case.
Thank you.
Any comments from or questions from Jane? We cannot hear you, Jane.
No, I don't have any questions or comments. Thank you.
Okay. For me, I have some comments or maybe questions just for clarification. As you can see here, members were asking about the daylight triangle. So I would ask Mr. Zidpre Toto, if you could share again you drawing, especially the one which was showing the daylight triangle. And if possible, if you were able to see I'll need to confirm the numbers, but bring up first. I've been to the site. I've been to the site. I've done some measurements there, observation of what is there. So if you can share that drawing, I would appreciate.
Okay. I think, you've enabled sharing. Okay, great. Let me.
No, not the other one. The other one. The one in the staff report we have, but you have a different one yourself.
Oh, yes. I'm viewing Aurora Town and Planning Development screen, but not mine. I think I need permission to share.
Whichever was shared area one, where you are showing the inside of the building, you know, that set of slides.
Through you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, that one
as-
there.
There you-
Yes, that
okay.
one there. So my question is, I don't know if you can zoom in a lot away there at the daylight triangle there. If you can zoom in more there, yes.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's the maximum you can zoom in, or if you go to the okay, yes, okay, good. So okay, so I just want to confirm with you. I'll be honest. I understand it, but I'm trying to confirm this since it's the public meeting, and you may have some questions from the public and so on. I still need the other one, not this one. Not this one. The other one which you showed earlier on.
Okay, well, through you, Mr. Chair, this site plan is a little bit more recent. We have a little bit more traffic showing here as well. It's a bit more accurate than the older one, which was an older package.
Okay, so if I'd ask you, only my questions would be about the daylight triangle.
Mhm.
Is the information on the daylight triangle here, what you are showing here, is it the same as what is on the other drawing? Because the other drawing to me shows better than the one you're showing now. That's why I want the other one.
Yeah, it has the same distance.
Yeah, but here is
3.68,
clearer.
3.
It's clearer and it's good in terms of illustration.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you would show the other one.
Okay, there's a little bit of a difference. We have about 0.2 meters of a difference from the building to the daylight triangle. So the other one's showing it a little bit more accurately, but this
No,
one's showing
you are still showing, is it 3.46, not so?
3.46 is on this drawing.
What about the other one?
We have 3.68, so it's an earlier
Yeah, okay.
drawing, or maybe a little bit different
Anyway,
angle.
It's okay. It's okay. This one at least is clearer in terms of visualization. That's why I'm on this. And the reason I want you to show this, and I want to hear, while I want to also make the public or anybody have a good understanding. So I want to confirm with you, the line, the daylight triangle, as you know, is a triangle as it is. The one you are showing there, that with the double lines, that's the long side of the triangle. Not so, that one there. The that one there. The hypotenuse. So that's the limit of the daylight triangle. So when you're talking about daylight triangle, you're talking about that angle there, which is showing, if I remember from the other drawing, the distance of that is about 16.7 meters. And for daylight triangle, you got that long side, which, as I said, is 16.72. And then the two legs, because the daylight triangle, typically the two legs, they are equal size. From my calculation, I saw those were about 11.882. So when you talk about daylight triangle, that's what it is, and that's what you are giving. But the setback is the setback from the daylight triangle. That's what you are doing. So the key here is, if that daylight triangle meets the minimum requirements for the town of Aurora, which at the moment I'm not sure what it is, but from my calculations, knowing based on my knowledge, I have to disclose here, based on my knowledge as an engineer, doing a lot of road designs, typically in local municipalities, you would have a 10 by 10 daylight triangle, wherever it's meeting a local road with maybe a main corrector, and maybe reduced to about 7.5 or 5.5. So the way it is here, I want people to understand that the daylight triangle, the way it looks here, if there's a car stopping at a stop bar, you will be able, whether it's coming from a Commerce Drive, or it's coming from the State Farm Road, or 24 Jardin Road way, you'll be able to stop and be able to see other cars from any other directions. So based on this the way it is shown here, it seems to be clear, it seems to be okay. So I just want to make sure people understand that, you see, what you're looking at is the buffer from that line, from that hypotenuse about that long line of the triangle, the setback from there to the building. That's what we're looking at. That one there, that's what we're looking at. Okay, it's not the overall daylight triangle. The daylight triangle is set. And with this, it shows it's 11.2 meters. Those are the two equal sides. And then the long side is about 16.72. Any car stopping there, following the Ontario driving rules or laws, will actually going to stop nicely there and be able to see the cars from other direction, or the cyclists, if there are any, or the pedestrian. So I just want to make it clear so that everybody understands what is in front of us. So those are my comments in general, and I don't have any other question. But I just want to also to comment that I was happy to hear from the owner, who described that the trees, the shrubs, which are at that location there, which may obstruct the view, the sight lines, will be removed and replaced with the type of vegetation landscaping, which will avoid, obstructing the sight lines, which I'm happy about. So those are my comments. Thank you. So any other comments from members of committee? Any questions or comments? Maybe if now you can stop sharing. Otherwise, I'll not see the hand of my committee members. Thank you. Anything else from the committee members? Okay, so I'll be looking for a motion or motions from a member of the committee. Jen.
I will make a motion that we approve minor variance 2024-09, conditional on the conditions that appear in Appendix A.
Do we have a seconder for this motion? Julian is a seconder. All in favor of this motion? Motion is carried. So Mr. Com and Mr. Toto, your application has been approved by the committee. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Chair.
Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Now the second application is a minor variance MV-24-07 at 2 Scanlon Court. The application, the owner is requesting relief from the requirements of the town's comprehensive zoning bylaw 600-17 as amended to permit overnight accommodation within the pet services permitted use. The following relief is being requested. Section 3 under definitions of the zoning bylaw 600-17 defines pet services, which does not allow overnight accommodation. The applicant is proposing overnight accommodation for pets. Applicants stated reasons for not complying with the zoning bylaw. The application form states that the zoning bylaw does not permit overnight boarding. We currently offer overnight dog boarding in our existing location at 14799 Yonge Street, and want to continue offering the same services in our new location. Public correspondence. There are no letters of opposition, there are no letters of support. In conclusion, planning staff believe that the requested variance meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act for granting minor variances. Staff recommend approval of the requested variance subject to the one condition in the staff's report. That's the application. Do we have the agent or applicant who want to speak to this application?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have an applicant here, Leanne Stevenson. They're just joining the call and will be ready shortly.
Hello. So if you could mute you, okay.
Due to web accessibility, as has quite a few hundred other municipalities.
I think if somebody has switched on the TV, you can switch off, please. Are you the owner or applicant or the agent?
So I am the, I don't know what you would call me. I am the tenant that will be going into Scanlon Court leasing buildings 8 and 9.
Okay, so you are the one who made an application.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, so you are applicant. So if you can state your name and address, please, and if you have a presentation or comments to make, then you can continue doing that.
Okay, sure. So my name is Leanne Stevenson, and our current business address is Unit 1 at 14799 Yonge Street in Aurora, Ontario. L4G 1N1 is the postal code. And we will be moving into Scanlon Court, also in Aurora.
Okay. So do you have a presentation to make or any comments about your application?
Yes, I do. I have a presentation. Give me 1 second. I will pull that up. Okay. Share screen. Oh, no. Okay. How do I share my screen?
Probably Peter, do you have a presentation? Okay.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so Peter, if you could go to the next screen, thank you so much. So just a quick overview. The Social Pup has been successfully operating in the Aurora market, in the Aurora town, for almost 5 years now. We opened up in July of 2019, and we started off quite small and quickly grew. Had some hiccups, obviously, through COVID, like everybody else, but we managed to, tighten up our bootstraps, and we had a really great team who came back to us after we were able to operate again. But we are basically a home away from home for your dogs. And so we do specialize in only dogs, and we offer a variety of services from daycare, overnight boarding, as well as training, grooming, and we do special events such as charity events, photo shoots, and things like that. You can go to the next slide, please. So really what this slide says is that we are someone you can trust with your dogs. We are well-trained professionals who have gone through extensive hours in training. We also have hundreds of hours of on-site training, having watched dogs over the last 5 years. So we're in thousands of dogs at this point, going through the variety of services that I had aforementioned. So we really, so here's it's okay. We can go to the growth slide. So like I mentioned, we opened in 2019. We survived COVID in 2020. We actually took training in-house. So what that means is that we were training a third-party provider to do our trainings for us, but then we invested in our own staff members who then went on to become trainers themselves and therefore advancing their career. So they are now doing training in-house, which is fantastic. We also hired our third full-time groomer. And I think what is really exciting about it is that we are a small but mighty business in which we have now fully employed 9 full-time employees and are on the verge of growth with the new location. Come 2023, we really have outgrown our space. So what this means is that we're only allowed so many dogs within the facility to make sure that we have the right ratio and the right space for dogs to play. I would say at least 4 or 5 days out of the week, we actually have to close our online booking tool so that people cannot book their dogs any longer because we have maxed out for the day. And then our plan is once our current lease ends is to move into our new, bigger and better location. Next slide, please. So what is bigger and better? So currently, very successful as we are, but very limited. We're currently operating 2,500 square feet, but we are moving into a 2-unit building at 2 Scanlon Court, which is now 7,300 square feet, plus a mezzanine, which is a multifunctional space up top. So one of the things that we are here for today is to request the accommodation or to allow us to do overnight boarding. We do offer it currently at our existing location as approved by the town. I believe it was a 2019 as well, and or late 2018. And so what we want to do now, because we currently have 7 boarding rooms, we have 3 large rooms and 4 small rooms. When we move into our new facility, we would be looking to have 12 large rooms. So they'll essentially all be the same size, ranging from 7 by 4 feet to the smallest 6 by 4 feet, which is our current largest suite that we have today. And that just shows the mezzanine, the multifunctional space upstairs, which we plan on using for things like training and the different teeth cleaning clinics that we offer, as well as the photo shoots that we do too. So just to give you an idea of what the boarding suites will look like. So currently today we have different themed rooms, but going forward, all of our rooms, if I could direct your attention to the first photo on the left, that one will actually be the blueprint for what all the rooms will look like. So each dog will have their own individual suite. And of course, dogs have to come through a temperament assessment to ensure that they are suitable for our location, as well as they engage in positive and fair play with the dogs. And then because they do have to be in daycare along with our boarding facilities. So, but when they do retire to their boarding suite after our daycare has closed, this is their individual suite. Next one, please. And this just does talk about the different retail space that we do have. We currently have retail in our existing space. We'll just be making it bigger and prettier for the new spot. Next place, please. So a kitchen, so we won't have access to the public in our kitchen, but like I mentioned, we do have staff members that work with us full time. So we will have a kitchen available for them. It won't be as fancy as the kitchen shown in here, but very basic in terms of cabinetry and sink and faucet and whatnot. Go ahead. Bathrooms, we will have 2 different bathrooms because they will be accessible to the public. There is one that is accessible, that has met the guidelines that has laid out in the plan. So we have an accessible toilet and the vanity as well, and the space has been cleared with the automatic door opening as well. The second bathroom is just because we may have more than 10 people in our location at one time, so we want to make sure that we have enough toilet facilities for them. Next. So our daycare space, you'll see that we have 3 daycare areas that have been put to plan. We have 1 large room and then we have 2 smaller ones. Please note that they are not actually divided by walls. They are divided by chain link fence, which we have access to in and out as well. So within each of the dog daycare rooms, we also have a floor drain to deal with any excrements that we have to get rid of, as well as we have a mopping facility and a mop sink and everything else inside. We will be outfitting it with some acoustic panels as well to help it minimize the noise, and we're laying down rubber flooring so the dogs don't hurt their paws. Next slide, please. Grooming. So we actually have we're expanding our grooming facility to make it larger because I had mentioned we did hire on a 3rd groomer. So we will have not only our own grooming situation, but we're also our own grooming for our professionals, but we'll also have a self-serve washing station for our clientele as well to use. Next slide. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So Peter, do we have any public delegation, just to confirm?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there are no public delegations for this application.
Okay, thank you. So, members of the committee, any comments or questions? Julian?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for your presentation, Leanne. Did I hear correctly that the dogs would be doing their business inside the unit and not outside?
That is correct, yes. For the most part, the daycare dogs, when they're in our facility, they will be going to the bathroom inside, which is common practice for large facilities, daycare facilities, indoor facilities such as ours. So what that means then is that we have to use environmentally friendly and dog-friendly cleaners in order to clean up after them, and we dispose of it right away. However, the boarding dogs will also be walked, usually in the morning, as well as in the evening when we close down shop, and late night as well. And they are walked with professional dog walker, as well as who has plenty of poop bags available.
So I know that there are no residential units in the strict vicinity of the facility that you intend to occupy. But
Yep.
just for the other businesses surrounding it, I assume you have proper measures in place to reduce odor issues?
Yes, we do. We're actually looking into the HVAC units to have additional cleaning agents within the unit itself. We have exhaust fans that are being added as well to alleviate any of the smell staying in the building and cleaning the air before it's expelled to outdoors. We also have airtight garbage bins to make sure that nothing is leaked or anything like that. Again, we've been doing this for 5 years now at the current social pub without issue. And so we're quite confident, but always open for feedback for the landlord or any of the other tenants that are in the building if there is something that arises.
Thank you.
Hi, Michael, go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. Just a question for the applicant. Your minor variance is proposing overnight accommodation. Does that include maybe long-term overnight accommodation, or is it just overnight, 1 night, 2 nights, 3 nights? Can you talk about that?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. So basically what we do today is we have people who drop their dogs off in our care for 1 night up to 6 weeks. We really don't limit it. It really depends on the need of the client that we have. So what I will say again is I go back to the assessment process in which all dogs have to come through a vigorous assessment in which we take an online questionnaire. We have to validate rabies and other vaccines to make sure that they are totally up to date on their vaccinations. And then we bring them in for a 2-hour meet and greet. So a 2-hour meet and greet is held by a question and answer period with the clients that come in to learn more about the dog's history. And then we bring the dog in to meet the other dogs that are in the facility for that day. The client is observing while we are interacting with the dog, 1 or 2 dogs at a time, and we introduce dogs with more personality. And the purpose is to see how the dogs will get along. Now, you can appreciate that 2 hours, a dog out of their comfort zone may not exactly show their true colors or show how comfortable they are, or really their personality. So we also request that dogs have to come back for another day of daycare prior to their stay. And that's where they stay for a longer period of time, for up to 5 hours minimum, to ensure that we can see their true personality and how they're going to do. The reason I'm explaining this all is because if dogs are especially staying for a longer term period, we want to make sure that they are most comfortable and it's someplace where they can be and where they're not going to be too anxious, or they're not too rowdy, or they're not going to fight with other dogs. And it also allows the parents to understand what happens during the daycare, because we have live video camera feed as well, so they can watch their dogs and see how they're interacting and bring anything to our attention that they may be concerned about over their stay.
So in other words, in the staff report, you talk about up to 65 dogs?
For daycare.
For daycare, okay. So let's say overnight, how many dogs are we talking about?
So we
Because
have
that's-
12 boarding rooms.
Mhm.
So we have 12 boarding rooms. You can fit up to 2 large dogs from the same family. So you could say max 24 dogs on one night, but it's very unlikely. We typically only get 1 dog per room as operating for the last 5 years. That's typically what it's been. It's very rare that we get double the dogs in the same room, but it is possible.
So in other words, it's not just overnight. I mean, if I have a dog and I'm going on vacation to Europe and I want to leave my dog with you, it could be a 2-week or a 3-week or whatever, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And we offer discounts for that too. If you're interested.
So I guess my comment is, it's when you're saying propose overnight, it should have actually been reflective of, overnight or long term. And I just have a question for the town staff then. The planner, Antonio. Is there a differentiation between overnight and long term in the zoning bylaw or the official plan?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I could definitely answer that. So to clarify, overnight accommodation in our bylaw is quite vague. So overnight can mean 1 night or 3 to 6 weeks. We don't quantify how long overnight is. Overnight is overnight, and then it's up to the tenant operating the facility to have their rules and guidelines in place. So yes, there's no classification of how long overnight would be.
Okay, so we're not doing anything like that's in violation of the zoning bylaw or the official plan in recognizing that it's not just when you say overnight, it's 1 night. It could be longer term.
Correct. No,
Okay.
There's no violation. No.
Thank you for that clarification. That's all I have to say.
Okay, any questions from other members of the committee? Jane is shaking her head. What about Chris?
No, thank you.
Okay, for me, I really don't have question. I wanted some clarification. Like one of my questions, I think Michael asked already. My question was going to be the reasons for overnight accommodation, but I think you explained. So maybe I would ask, so do you have like a veterinary doctor present for this sort of services?
No, so it's not a requirement, but what I can say is that we are partnered with a local vet, the Aurora Animal Clinic here in Aurora. It's near the Dairy Queen Plaza. So what that means is that if we have any questions that are required for veterinary care, we call them directly and they understand that they are to take our call, even if the dog is not their client. And that is part of the terms and conditions that the clients sign off on when they do sign up their pet for our services. I will say, though, there is an asterisk in which if we are able to take their dog to their own vet, then we will.
Okay. So okay, continue, Michael. I'll give you a chance. I can always be the last. I'll give you a chance before you forget your question. Continue. Continue. Go ahead, Michael.
I guess my thought process is, do you have staffing at all times, so an overnight stay?
We do not.
Okay.
We do not. So yeah, so what we have, somebody is currently in our current situation is we have somebody that's in the building until 7 o'clock as they're doing their cleaning and finalizing their cleaning duties or any other administrative tasks. And then we have an employee that comes in between 9 and 10 p.m. to do the late night walks. And so the dogs are left overnight by themselves between the hours of 10 to when we show up the next day at 6:30 in the morning.
And you've had no issues with unruly situations like
Thankfully, knock on wood, we have not. We do have a security camera that has the motion detectors, that have the alarm systems. I also am a resident of Aurora and live only 10 minutes away from the store. So we have not had any emergency situations. But if we had, myself and others are on the ready call list, as well as reachable by our own personal private security company that we've employed.
Okay, thank you for clarifying me on that.
Right, yes, and I will mention one other thing. We also have webcams, which is a 24-hour live feed. So myself, my staff, as well as the clientele can log on through an app and view their dogs at any point.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I can continue. Anyway, you've answered when you are answering Michael's questions, you answered one of my questions about questioning that one of the reasons for overnight boarding could be maybe because they are sick and then you have a a veterinary doctor looking after, but it seems that's not the case. Yeah, that's not the case. So you have answered that. Now, my other questions to the town staff. Again, just for clarification. In the report, you mentioned that this service will be currently, the building is currently vacant. This will be the first service being provided in that building. I'll be honest here. I know of some places whereby they want to move to a building, but they will not move to a building because of the other occupants in that building that maybe they affect their buildings. Is this building in this case, would you think the fact that you have a pet service in this building, will that affect the occupancy of the other buildings or the other sections or other areas?
Yeah, so Mr.
No,
Speaker.
yeah, I'm asking the planning staff.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah. I can answer that through you, Mr. Chair. So I had a discussion with the property owner, and in my discussions with the property owner, they are very excited to be having, because these would be the first 2 units that are being leased out, as this industrial building's a newly constructed building. So, that it's tough to quantify to answer that question specifically, because that is tenant-based, right? If at local, there's permitted uses under the E2 zone. So as long as you're a permitted use, you're able to function and business as normal. In terms of whether that would detract from other businesses coming to the industrial plaza, it's tough to say. I don't believe so. In my opinion, that's why we have specific uses in specific zones and specific areas. So we believe that it's an appropriate use, and having a business that's looking to expand in Aurora that's a local business already would be a good value add.
Okay. And I think I heard from Ryan, she mentioned about putting this HVAC and the, more equipment to make sure, there's odor control and so on, which is good to hear. Okay, so I don't have any questions. Now, just another round. Any member of the committee, any questions, any comment? Do you have any comments? Okay, so I'll ask for a motion from one of the members. Michael?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I read the staff report, and I think the application meets the 4 tests under the Planning Act. And I move to approve the application MV-224-07.
Do you have a seconder for this motion?
With the conditions as stated, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Do you have a seconder for this motion? Jane? All in favor of this motion? Motion carried. So, Ms. Stevenson, your application has been approved. And thank you for your patience, and have a good night.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so the next thing on the agenda is new business. Antonio and Peter, do we have anything from you folks?
Through you, Mr. Chair, no new business on my end.
Through you, Mr. Chair, nothing on my end as well.
Okay, anything from members? No. So I would like to have a motion for adjournment of the meeting. Michael, okay.
I move to
So,
adjourn the meeting.
okay, so the meeting has been adjourned. So thank you very much.